Hey guys, in this channel I'm going to dive deep on exactly how much do you need to set aside to start your business all the way through to securing your first deal. How much does it all cost? Something you guys really need to understand. So stay tuned, get straight into it. Okay, so straight away we have business launch. Limited company, £12. PRS, £140 a year. Option 2. Information Commissioner's Office, £40 for the year. To get the website and the emails together, if you make the website yourself, you can do it less than £100. Setting up a business bank account using Monzo, Tide, Revolut. These are free. And then you get charged subscription 12 months later. So all in to set up your rent-to-rent business, have everything ready to go, is about £300. Not a lot. Whether you're going at this alone or not, training is obviously a startup cost to some people if you are going to undertake training. If not, then this won't apply to you. So online courses, which would literally just be an online course. Yes, you can get amazing online courses, but it will not include the likes of one-to-one mentoring, a support mentor, accountability, one-to-one Zooms, a community of like-minded people. It would just be an online course. Mentorships can vary from, I would say, minimum about £3,000 for a serious business to undertake a mentorship, all the way up to 15,000 and more. Some people have paid £30,000 plus on a mentorship and then have come to my program and have been astonished of the value we provide in comparison to their £30,000 course. It is crazy. But anyway, that's training. Then it's just getting going. Once you know what you're doing, whether you're doing this or not, or you're undertaking it by yourself, that's absolutely up to you. Okay, so far we know starting up your business and becoming compliant is about £300. Whether you're undertaking training or not, it can vary drastically. Okay, so now we're into actually taking action, trying to secure these properties. What costs are involved in that? So if you're going down the HMO route, you're going to need a spare room account for when you're doing your due diligence on spare rooms. That is £139 per year, or you can pay per listing, but I would suggest doing the £139 per year. Set up as a property agent. This way you can list 3 properties in a month, but only 1 property live at any given point. If you do it as a single listing, it does become expensive. So yes, it's another, that should be in the startup cost, but it's not, because you might be doing the service accommodation route. So service accommodation, you might need software such as AirDNA and Property Market Intel. So as of right now, these are the prices for Property Market Intel. As you can start from £12 from £82 per month. I would just go with the basics to start with. So we don't use AirDNA anymore whatsoever. Just go to Airbnb and Booking.com. They're free to use. Do your due diligence through those for service accommodation. So I'm going to assign these under admin costs because they are essential. They are what you need. So what I've got here is just admin costs. HMO, £139 for the year. Service accommodation, £12 per month. Okay, so now your business is set up. You're ready to go. You've created your admin, and now it's just about getting on the phones and securing these viewings, which actually incur no costs apart from fuel and going back and forth to viewing. Okay, so we're going through viewings, we're going through doing your due diligence, we're going through making offers. None of this has any costs. As soon as you have an offer accepted, obviously the costs are about to come in. If you're working with an agent, they are going to ask for a holding deposit, and this is roughly about 1 week's worth of the accepted rent. So if you had £2,000 of the monthly rent, that is what you made an offer, that's what's been accepted. The holding deposit will be £500. Then again, you might be put through referencing, especially if you're working with estate agents. But don't see that as a barrier. If you pass referencing once with an estate agent, they know you're going to pass again and again and again and again. And then they trust you, not as a person, but as a business, that you're not a time waster. So that's how you scale a business. Agents aren't a barrier. Someone you really want to build a relationship with so you can just go in and scale your business. Okay, once you pass referencing, you've then got contracts. Again, that shouldn't cost any money because you've got the contracts, especially if you've done the training courses and mentorships. If not, most estate agents have the contract anyway. But if you're going direct to landlord, then you are going to have to source a contract. And a contract, if you were to source it without training, will cost you £2,000 plus. We've had quotes for renewal of our contracts being drawn up by solicitors. £2,000 plus VAT is a minimum quote we found. So that's without the mentorship, without the training course. That includes, most training courses won't include the contract anyway, but in mentorships, it will include the contract. So just be aware of that. If you aren't going to get training and you are going to go direct to landlords, if that's your plan, where are you going to source a contract from? So that would be my immediate solution that you need to solve if you didn't intend on getting trained. Okay, so what I've wrote there is securing property. So you've got the holding deposit, but once contracts are signed, the first month's rent is more than likely needed to be paid for. Quite often you hear about a rent-free period or a grace period. That's quite often in the second month because the agents want to take our payment from you. It's how they're structured with the agents. Their profit is either made in the first month or in the management, or it depends what arrangement they've got going. But quite often, estate agents, if you've agreed a grace period, it's never really the first month. It's quite often the second month. So be expected to pay for the first month's rent. So let's just say we had a property accepted and the rent is £2,000 per month. You will need to pay prior to signing the contracts, or on the point of signing the contract, you will need to pay the £200. Obviously, you've paid £500, so that will be then £1,500, but in total, you paid £2,000. If that was your offer and that's what's been accepted, you've signed the contract, £2,000. I hope that makes sense. You will then need insurance. So you need professional indemnity insurance and public liability insurance. So just to explain the difference, professional indemnity is if anything drastic was to happen, or landlord, agents, contracts, and there was a huge dispute and it went to court, professional indemnity will protect you for that. Public liability is obviously protecting yourself and your business if something was to happen to your guest or your tenant within your property. These are about £200 a year each, okay? Not too much. So get those in place upon securing your first property. Don't get that in place prior to signing the contract. Make sure the property is yours. It's a bit like if you're going to buy a car, don't get insurance first. Buy the car, make sure you are definitely buying it, then get insurance. I'm gonna go out and buy a Range Rover. I'm just gonna get random insurance and then I'll find the Range Rover. It's get the property, get the insurance, okay? Then we've got everything to do with the property, and this can vary drastically. All right, so I'll give you an example of my very first HMO. So the rent was £19.50, okay? I had to pay 5 weeks deposit as well. So the rent was £19.50. Let's make it easier. Let's just round that up to 2,000. I then had to pay 5 weeks deposit. But then that was it. That was my property. Signed the contracts. I paid the first month's rent and 5 weeks deposit. I had a month's grace, but that was in the second month, okay? And this is where I got really creative. Prior to signing the contracts, I had my spare room account going and collecting demand of tenants that wanted to move in. So as soon as the offer was accepted, not contract signed, offer accepted, paid the holding deposit, I started messaging all these tenants back saying, listen, I've secured a property in this area. Are you still interested? Start collecting people that are definitely interested. Then as soon as I signed the contract, and I knew the property was mine, I lined up a list of tenants, sending everybody a message saying, I've secured this property now, it's official. Are you interested? This is how it looks. It looked an absolute state. This is an example of how I'm going to furnish it and how it will look once it's done. It's going to be completely refurbished and look amazing. So are you interested? I had a group of friends that were interested. They all paid £100 deposit. Right, so straight away I collected £500 back in my account. Okay, so I've collected £500. Right, this property was a mess. It needed a lot of cosmetic, paint, skirting boards, even the ceilings needed painting. It was a mess, okay? But most of it was just elbow grease, just do the hard work. So we spent a lot of money on paint and not a lot else. The property was furnished, the beds, the mattresses were okay, and the mattresses that weren't okay, I just went on Facebook Marketplace and bought some nice condition, cheap beds. And actually, I even set myself a budget of £50 per bed, and it's surprising how many you can find, especially when it's quite urgent. So I was running around Brighton collecting 2 double beds that evening. Yeah, absolutely perfect condition. Okay, so I spent £500 in doing this property up. Like I said, it was furnished. Most of the furniture was fine. It was just paint, bedding kits, wall art, lamps. Trust me, you'll be running back and forth to Dunelm, Argos, The Range, B&Q, getting, caulking, paint. A tip for you guys, B&Q, tough and durable paint is amazing. It's quite cheap, It's really good quality and it's hard wearing. So by now, look, you can see I've spent £5,000. And by this point, the property is finished. And now I sent a video to all of the tenants saying, if you're happy, then I need first and last month's rent from you. And within the hour, all 5 tenants, so I charged them all £650 for the first month's rent and the last month's rent. So you don't collect deposits. If you collect them as deposits, they've got to sit in a TDS, a tenant deposit scheme. If you collect it as last month's rent, then you can spend it, you can invest it, you can use that money to take on another HMO, which will give you 600 plus profit per month. So I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, but you know, at the end of that tenancy, you're gonna have a month of not collecting rent. Well, you don't just sit on one property, you use that cash injection to go out and get another deal, which would pay for the void of that and more, because it would be profiting per month. So I charged all 5 tenants £1,300 straight away. Within the hour, I had £6,500 transferred back into my account. So now I have collected £7,000. Okay, so they moved in the next day. I've already paid rent for this property for the month, and I'm not paying rent for the following month because that's my free month. So then I collect 650 times 5, just 1 month's rent from everybody. So the following month I collect 3,250 from all of the tenants. So in total I had to invest £5,000. So straight away I'm negative 5,000. And then I collected £500 from holding deposits. So I've collected from tenants moving in £7,000. Okay, and then I had the following month rent free, which gave me another rent collection of 3,250. So I've collected 10,250. So this property, within 2 months, made me a profit of 5,250. So let's say I didn't have a rent-free period, you know? I had to pay rent the following month. I'd still collect 3,250, but I'd also have to pay £2,000 in rent. You know, taking on the property, getting it tenanted before paying, well, in time to pay the rent next. I've invested 7,000. We don't have a rent-free period, but we still collect 3,250 from all of the tenants. So without a rent-free period, we've spent £7,000, and that includes the second month rent as well, okay? Because who knows, in your mind, I'm talking worst case scenario, it's taken you a month to fill it somehow, but that would never be the case. But let's just say it's taken you a month to fill it, and then you finally got it all tenanted. You've collected 10,250 from the first month and the last month's rent of people moving in, and then on the second month they're paying rent. So 10,250, you've invested 7. Without the second month rent-free period, I have still made £3,250 profit. That's without the rent-free period. And just so you know, in terms of like estate agents and company lets and corporate lets and rent-to-rent companies, it's quite standard that the second month rent-free period is there, or a rent-free period. We ask for it. They're expecting it. If you don't ask for it, they're like, okay, they didn't ask for it. So with a rent-free period, I made £5,250 profit just from this one property. That was my very first property. And I actually took on 3 HMOs all to start with. So times that by 3, and actually one of the properties was a 7-bed, so more profit to be made there. But that's just an example. I would say to allocate £5,000 to your first rent-to-rent HMO, and I would say in terms of rent-to-serviced accommodation, it's quite similar as well. Okay, so taking on your first property is going to cost £5,000. So let's look at all of this as a whole now then. So we've got startup costs, 300. Let's say you're not going for the training. You're going to need the contracts. Let's say you're not looking at training. That's going to be 2,000. You might be able to source it from somewhere else. I don't know. But if you were to have them made from solicitors, £2,000. So then you've got running costs, admin costs, about 140 a year. But let's go on a monthly basis. So it's about £12 a month. Then you've got insurance. Then you've got securing your first property. So that's without training, okay? So that's coming in at 7,712. So let's just say 7,700. If you were to do a training course or a mentorship, which included contracts, so you've still got the 300 for startup costs. Your mentorship cost on average is going to cost £4,000, let's say. You know, I've got 15,000 here. I know some people do charge 15,000, which is absolutely ridiculous. Never sign up to a rent-to-rent course. If it's anywhere 15,000, they'll be having your pants down. It's ridiculous. Don't do it. Don't be silly. It's roughly in between 3,000 and 5,000. So let's say £4,000. Then you've got admin costs. Then you've got insurance, then you've got taking on your first property. So 9,712, or let's just say 9,700. So if you can allocate £5,000 to £10,000 to start your rent-to-rent journey, and let me show you exactly why I say 5 to 10,000, not 7 to 10,000. When I started, I had £3,000 in my savings account. was it. That went straight to a mentor, so I was straight back down to zero. Then I got onto saving. I cut everything. I cut Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, you name it. If it was an unnecessary expense, I cut it. I saved 6 months just to put, well, I say just to put, it's still a lot of money, but to put £3,000 together, 6 months. That's how dedicated I was to starting. I just couldn't wait to start. And when I did start, I had no money. I thought, okay, on average, let's have a look. Let's look at the averages. You know, I was thinking, how long is it going to take for me to learn, get the ropes, become confident in what I'm saying and speaking? You know, my very first phone call to an agent is actually one of my very first videos on YouTube. Go to my videos, go to the oldest and watch the oldest videos. My very first phone call to an agent, I was bricking it, I was shaking, I was so nervous. So I thought, it's going to take me 3 months to secure my first deal. By that point, I can sell a few bits. I was into my vintage jet skis, I still am. I had an old school truck and I really didn't want to sell it, but I was contemplating, because when you start looking at your life and things around you, it's like, is that an asset or a liability? I really did see my truck as a liability. So anyway, I did manage to pull together £3,500, and that secured the holding deposit and the first month's rent on that property, but I didn't have to sign the contract until 6 months later. So I secured that property I gave you an example of in April, but I didn't have to sign the contract until August. So it gave me a good amount of time from April to August to save up a good amount of money to put down for the whole cost of that property. But this is where it got really stressful for me. I was taking on 3 HMOs and I only had the money for 1. So I had to turn that first HMO, the example you just saw, around very quickly, and that's why I moved in the tenants the next day, and I was so prepared, lined the tenants up, took the holding deposits, because I had to collect all that money. So in this screenshot here, you'll see me collecting the first and last month's rent for the property I gave you the example of, and then the very next day I'm paying for the second and third property. That's how to the wire it was. Taking on 2 extra properties that I couldn't afford, but I knew I could trust the process, get it done, turn it around, tenant it and secure the money, pay for the following 2 properties. So that's why I say start with £5,000. Just get trained, all right? If you're going to go without training, you are walking into a disaster, I would say, unless you're really switched on and you don't need all of the clear guidance and you're willing to take the risk, or you've got the pocket to afford the risk, then by all means, good luck. You'll need that luck as well. Just get trained, get going. By the time you secure your first deal, you would have found the rest of the money. I know that because that's how it was for me. You've just got to get started. And if you're waiting to be like, no, I want the funds for that and I want the funds for that, the opportunity cost is massive. It's actually costing you money, because if you just got on the phones, if you were just starting to train and you got on the phones, even if you couldn't afford the property at that point, you either JV with another student in a program, or you sell the deal to another student on the program you're in for £3,000. So I would say every 2 months that you don't start is costing you £3,000. But that's just from my experience. That would be my tip: is as soon as you got the money and you want to take this seriously, go for the training, figure out the rest of the cost later, because that's the situation I was in. But let's say if you did want to wait, then I would save £7,000 and you'll be able to afford everything. Training, first property, done. So, appreciate you guys being here. Leave a comment and a like if you found this helpful. See you on the next one.